Hi everyone, this is Jennifer Stay from Coloring Pages Bliss, and I'm here to talk today about one of my favorite obsessions, which is gel pens. In this little video I want to cover just some basics about gel pens, the different properties of them, how to store them, how to use them, because in following videos I'll get more into how I use them to color and do my art, because there's a lot of neat techniques that I've been playing around with and having a lot of fun. And that is why I am totally obsessed and I keep buying more and more gel pens. Everywhere I turn I'm finding gel pens, and that's why I can't stop buying them. So let's talk about gel pens. First of all, gel pens are water-based, which is really exciting. When they come out, the ink should come out nice and wet. That can cause problems when you're working with them, especially if you're coloring and your hand goes across your art as you're coloring, because they can smear. And that's why a lot of people have gotten frustrated with them in their coloring. You see some negative feedback about them because of that, but that's why I love them, and I'll show you in my other videos why I love them so much because of that property. A gel pen is sealed. They put the ink into the tube inside and then they pressurize it so that the ink gets pushed down towards the tip, and then they seal it with a plug on the end, and they seal it on this end with a little roller. And then the cap is a very special cap on the gel pens, and that's why sometimes they're really stubborn to get off, because if the cap doesn't get sealed on correctly, the ink will dry up. And so when you get your gel pens, it's vital that your caps always go on the correct pen and they get pushed on all the way. You gotta hear that click. Then you know that that special little cap right there, it has been pushed onto the tip and your ink is secure and sealed back in. As far as storing your gel pens, that's kind of a big debate in the coloring world. Which way to store your pens? Do you store them horizontally? Do you store them vertically? If you store them vertically, do you store them tip down? Do you store them tip up? How do you store these lovely little gel pens? Basic rule of thumb for me is anytime I go into an art store, I look and see how the art store is storing the tools, because they're going to store them the best way possible so they have the longest shelf life for selling their products. And so if they've got them stored on their side, then that's usually how I store them, unless I learn different. I've looked up on several websites of the manufacturers of these gel pens to see how they suggest storing them. And for the most part, they say it doesn't really matter because the ink has been pressurized inside that tube. And so it doesn't really matter whether you store them vertically or horizontally. What does matter is that if you drop these little pens, you're going to get air bubbles inside the ink tube. You can kind of see on this green one, as the ink is running out, you can see this little air bubble here, and that's going to cause a problem. I probably won't be able to use that last little chunk of ink because of that bubble. So really the biggest issue with the gel pen is don't drop your gel pens. Store them somewhere really safe and secure so that they are protected, which is, you know, pretty much the same rule for all your art supplies. So for the most part, I store mine currently in a cosmetics case, as you can see here, and this one hangs on my wall, or I can roll it up, and I've sorted it out by colors so I can find what I want quickly. There you can see. And this has been my best thing. Sometimes I have it hung up, sometimes it's rolled up and put up on a shelf, depending on what kind of art I'm working on at the time. And then recently I picked up a set at my warehouse store. I think you can see that. That comes in this big stadium display. And this one I have on display like art because it's so pretty and inspiring. And this brings me to another point. When you buy big sets like this, please be aware that most of the time you're going to get duplicates. So like I have 2 grays here and 2 pinks and 2 purples, and so don't be fooled by that. It says it has 100 colors, but really there isn't 100 colors. There's duplicates in this set. But as a colorist, you'll know that as you get coloring, especially if you're coloring a big space, you can go through this ink kind of fast, and if you empty out your pen and you're still halfway through your flower, you can be really upset, and so you'll be really glad to have that second pen. So to me, having the duplicates is a real perk, and so I was not unhappy at all to have a duplicate of the colors in here. But if you were counting on 100 colors, you could be pretty disappointed. So be aware of that when you buy the big sets, that happens. Another thing to know is that, you know, generally when you're buying art supplies, the more money you spend, the better. What I found with gel pens is that I can hit my dollar store and pick up a pack or 2 of gel pens and find that I get a really good experience with the gel pens. This pack here was from the dollar store. This is actually 2 separate packs here. And I have loved these, especially this glitter set here from the dollar store. It has become my favorite one. I'm headed back to the dollar store soon to get another set of this glitter pen set because it's been fantastic for highlighting, and especially this gold one here has been my favorite for a lot of projects. I go to this gold pen. And so the dollar store is a great place to go. While I have this packet out, I want to make a point that sometimes the manufacturers will make gel pen sets that are all black, but they'll make the covers of the gel pens colorful. So you'll want to look and make sure that it comments on your package that it is colored pens, so that you don't get home with a set of black pens that are just pretty colored on the outside. It'll also say what size tip you've got. There's all different kinds of tips. Please experiment. They're going to be good for different things. Pretty much it's just going to deal with the flow. I picked up this really pretty pen. This is by Right Dudes, and I was really excited about this pen. It's got a cute little crystal on it, and they were really pretty colors. It's actually coming untwisted, and I have been pretty unhappy with it. It's a tiny little tip, and when you write with it, it would take forever to color with this pen, and it will kind of chew up your paper as you're coloring. And so I've been pretty unhappy with this tiny little tip. So be aware of your tip size when you're buying your gel pens. Like this would be great for taking notes in class, but for coloring, not so much. Really pretty little pen, but not so much. Another thing is I came across a set. This one is by Uniball, and it claims it's a gel pen, but it's you click the top, so it doesn't have your traditional cap. So I'm not sure whether it really is a gel pen. See, it's not even coming out that great right now, but that doesn't mean much, and I'll talk about that in a second. So I'm not sure, haven't learned much about these yet, haven't done my research yet, so that's a big question mark, but these were advertised as gel pens. Okay, so when you buy your gel pens, you're going to find them as glitter pens, you're going to find neons, you're going to find pastels, you're going to find metallics, which are really fun. You're going to find another kind I found. This is by Fiskars, in a Fiskars set I got. They came with these pastel variegated pens. You can see this one I've almost used down to the end, which I really like about some of the brands, like these dollar store ones. They've kind of covered the barrel and you can't see the status of your ink. Most of them though have come with a nice clear barrel so you can see how much ink you have left as you're coloring, so you know whether you can start a new flower or not. The variegated ones I thought would come out a little differently than what they do. Let's see if I can get this pen going. There we go. But in general, you know, I thought, oh, we're going to get some really pretty yellows, and then it go into the pink and the purples. In general, they come out in this kind of green that kind of just mixes. So they haven't been as fantastic as I thought, but when I need a pretty wash of a pastel green, they're great. And ever so often they do what I thought they would do, but not consistently enough to count on it for a specific project. So I hang on to them, and if I have a big old area that I need to fill in with a solid color, when I'm coloring, I'll pull these out and I'll just think, okay, well, this is a good space to kind of use up one of these pens. And so I have these sort of on standby in a separate plastic bag in my storage container, so I have them ready to go. Now let's talk about this problem I'm having here that I keep having. Some of these pens come out really nice and juicy without any problems. This is a pen I picked up from Target. This set has been really good. I think it was the Up and Up brand, which I think is their store brand. It was a set. I really liked that set I picked up there. And these pens come out nice and smooth, as you can see. That silver might be a little hard for you to see because it's a metallic. Let me move this out of the way. There we go. See if I move it a bit. It's another problem with the metallics and the glitters. If you photograph your work, you're going to have some trouble catching all the details. If you're not photographing your work, of course, it doesn't really matter. But I photograph a lot of my work, and so I run into a problem with that. Here's another fiskars, and it's running really good. But I love a really juicy pen, and so if the pens don't come out juicy, they're almost useless to me. Here's a neon yellow. The way I use my gel pens, if they're not coming out juicy, then they almost go in the trash immediately. And it seems that the pastel colors, yeah, see, the pastel colors tend to be the most problematic in all the sets I've gotten. Even if you could hear, I know you can't, but it sounds dry, you know, and if I drag my finger across it, you get almost no smear, which, like I said in my other video, you'll see why that frustrates me. I want that smear. If I'm getting myself a gel pen, I want that gel on my paper. That's what I'm after. So if I was coloring in a section of a flower or a design, see, now it's totally stopped. I want that gel. That's why I bought pens. These gel pens was to get the gel. Now, when I've read online on these different websites, there's suggestion for when you have this problem where now we've got splotchy ink coming out. This happens on almost every brand I've picked up. It doesn't seem to matter whether I spent $1 or a few dollars on a package of pens. They suggest you tap the pen a few times like that, and evidently there's a little ball inside there that seals up that tube, and that will engage the ball and get it rolling, and then it's supposed to get it moving again. You're not supposed to shake the pen because it will create that, or it potentially could create the bubble inside your barrel of ink, which you don't want because that will really disturb the flow of ink and could ruin your thing. And it got it going again for a minute. So that was helpful. I know I've read all kinds of things about heating up your pen and all of that. Of course, the manufacturers say don't do that. They say don't take apart your pen because that will ruin the seal of the barrel inside. I've read where you can take it apart and blow really hard to push that ink back down. But after reading about the seal they create in the manufacturing process, that doesn't seem logical to me, but you know, if your pen's not working, then what have you got to lose, right? They also suggest cleaning the tip because the ink can sit on here. You can even, if I don't think you can see, but there is ink sitting on the tip here, so probably I would take some time with maybe a warm cloth, a warm paper towel or something, clean that tip off and see if that would help the flow. But in general, the light colors, the pastels, just have a hard time when it comes to gel pens. Anytime I hit into a metallic or glitter, I almost always have success with gel pens. I don't know why. I'd love to talk to maybe Sakura, which makes the jelly roll kind, or someone and ask them what's going on. Why is the glitter and the metallics working so well? Because this is a black, just a standard black, which I don't color with yet, so I haven't experimented too much with the standard black. Here's a glittery gray, dark gray, kind of a pewter gray, really pretty. Again, the glitters, almost every time I pick up a glitter, I know I'm going to have a good result. Here's a standard purple, so I've got probably a 50-50 chance here because it's not a metallic or a glitter, but it's also not a pastel. So let's see what happens. Ah, good result. Now, there is the Jelly Roll brand I just mentioned. I haven't purchased many yet. There's another nice, pretty glitter there. Let me show you some of these dollar store so you can see. You know, the Fiskars and the other brands cost, of course, a lot more than these dollar store, but you'll see a pretty, and you get really good smearing going on with these dollar store. I haven't picked up the Jelly Roll brand yet, simply because of cost. I've been investing in other art supplies, but I'm hoping to invest in a set of the Jelly Roll brand soon. There's that favorite gold pen here, and again they kind of have a clear barrel. If I could talk to Promarx, I'd tell them to get that paint off of there. Waste of time. Here's this other brand. So this set here I keep in my purse with my new mini coloring books that I designed. I keep this set with that. The Bliss Breather coloring books that I designed, that you can download on my website, coloringpagesbliss.com. Okay, let's talk whites. White gel pens are really important to me as an artist. I use them with my mixed media to add highlights and things. Get a little piece of black here. This is from Fiskars here. Almost no sets that I pick up carry white. Fiskars has been the only set that has carried the white, and it's been really disappointing. So you can see, you lay it down and at first you're like, oh yeah, we got us a good white here, and then just a few seconds later, as it's drying, and it just disappears. And so you go back, you let it dry, you go back, you let it dry, you go back. No matter how many layers you layer up on it, it's just a big failure. So someone on one of my coloring groups suggested the Gel Xtreme and said that was a fantastic brand. And so I picked that up, and I like it, except you can see the tip of the pen as you draw with it is pulling through the gel, and it leaves a groove through the gel. I don't know how to resolve that, but as it dries it almost gets whiter, which is fantastic. So I've been able to get a better highlight, and we are getting a better flow. But I have had to do the little tap thing to get it going, which I'm fine with that because I don't do a lot of coloring with these. These are mainly for highlighting. And then this is my one and only Jelly Roll pen that I have picked up so far. And the purpose of this Jelly Roll pen, when I bought it, it's a clear glitter pen, and I bought it so that I could add glitter if I was coloring with pencil crayon. and I wanted to add a little highlight or glitter. And so you can see here, if I go over my Sharpie marker on this lettering, then all of a sudden this black Sharpie looks like I used glitter pen on the whole first word. Well, I'm being a little sloppy here, but you get the idea. And so far, like I said, I've really enjoyed this little Jelly Roll pen, and so I'm really looking forward to investing in a full set of Jelly Roll. And it kind of, to me, it looks like the barrel on the inside is larger than the barrels here. It could be a optical illusion. It would be nice to know how many ounces are inside each of the pens. Wouldn't that be a nice thing to have the manufacturers telling us the ounces? So that's Gel Pens 101. Another option, if you need a white, that I go to most often with my whites are a good old-fashioned paint pen. This I just picked up at my art store. It's by Craft Smart, and it's my go-to most times because the gel pens just don't hack it. You get the same problem though. As it dries, it goes a little clear, so you have to go back and give it a little extra layers, but you know, and you have to do the old shaking. You can hear that ball inside to mix the paint up, but it works really good. So if you need a white and your gel pens aren't cutting it, you can go pick up a paint pen. So check out my upcoming videos on how I use my gel pens. I'm so excited to show you. Let me give you a little sneak peek on some of the things I've been playing with in my sketchbook. This is a rose that I did. Evidently I did this in the future, 2018. Ha, just kidding. This was done May 22, 2016. But this I did during some church service I was at. This was just done with 2 pinks and a couple greens and a blue. I think it was actually done with my dollar store set. And I was thrilled. I left some white marks to give some highlights, and I created this rose with some blending, and I was thrilled that I could create such pretty effects with gel pens. And I've done some other coloring in my coloring book with the gel pens, and I can't wait to show you all that we can do with these lovely tools that I'm obsessed with. So again, my name is Jennifer Stay, Coloring Pages Bliss. Please follow me on Facebook. Come check my website out and see my beautiful art that you can color, download as PDFs, and I've got tons of free coloring pages you can download, as well as become a premium member for just $5. And check out that because there's tons of coloring pages that $5 gives you access to my entire library. So thanks for watching my video, and check me out in my next video.